Nigeria, and welcome to yet another great episode of Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic hub of Nigeria, Lagos. My name is Henry Igwebike, and we kick off today with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at EnterpriseTVnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at EnterpriseTV7. We're very so honored to have with us right here in our studios, Chief Dr. Tony Amechi, Special Advisor to the Delta State Government on Investment. Thank you so very much, sir, for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, and we equally have Mr. Shodende Peters, political commentator. Good morning to you,
Mr.
Peters.
Morning.
Thank you so very much both for giving us your time. And so let's kick-start today, interestingly, with the newspapers on our desk. And we're starting off today with the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Big story we have here for free, fair, and credible 2027 polls. Street president of power to control judiciary, INEC, and INEC, Nigerians say. I would love to start with you, Dr. Amechi, on this particular matter. Street president power to control judiciary and the INEC is sacrosanct. There's no gainsaying about that, isn't it?
To a very large extent, I'm going to say yes, but is the president really controlling the judiciary and INEC? I do not think so. These are distinct organizations, that has been created under our constitution, and to a very large extent, people believe that whatever happens in the judiciary is being manipulated or being controlled by the president. But when you take an in-depth look, these are independent minds, that do their things.
A textbook, that is theoretically, but realistically, that's not what Nigerians see.
That is what you say. That is what you say. So I don't really believe, because people go to the judiciary all the time to get judgments, even against government. People go to government, get judgment against government. So the point remains that I think we need to disabuse our minds and then trust in these institutions. Do they have flaws? Of course, there are a lot of flaws that need to be looked into and corrected over time. But we need to trust them. We need to support them, to be able to do the right thing.
Really?
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Peters, if we must have a comprehensive electoral reform, one of the pain points there is the president should be stripped of the opportunity, the control of the INEC. Right now, it is still under the president's purview to select and choose who belongs to the INEC, and of course, he who pays the piper dictates the tune.
Okay, thank you. I think I totally align with the Chief on his explanation of separation of powers as it is now. I'm coming to the question you asked to me because I want to lean on what you have said. You see, it's a constitutional matter appointing the INEC chairman. The Constitution has put it within the purview of the President to so decide who he wants as the INEC chairman. If you strip the President today of that power, tell me which arm of government out of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary should be the one to choose the INEC chairman, that Nigerians will say, yes, you have done justice to this election.
Mr. Peters, the presidential system of government we operate now was gotten from the United States of America.
Okay.
In the U.S., the president of America is never in his domain to select who held the elections there. It's the legislature that do that.
Far.
Yes.
We have our own constitution. America has its own constitution. Our constitution today has said the president should choose. Tell me, the Nigerians have ordinarily lost faith in our legislature. They've lost faith in the judiciary because they believe the judiciary does not give them the type of judgment they want. Sentimentally, we think that court cases should go the way we feel because we just think this is how it should go. And funny enough, the court does not invite people. They don't advertise, come to me. You are the ones that go to the court. And at the end of the day, you will still blame that same court. You went there yourself to tell them, help me solve my problem. You see, if you say the judiciary should be the one to choose in this country, we know what people... INEC was using professors in schools to run election. People will tell you, no, these professors are not good. Who do you want them to use? Bankers? You see, I think Nigeria has a trust deficit, a trust problem. We believe if things don't go our way, then maybe stripping the president of the power to appoint an INEC chairman will help us solve it. I don't think so.
So you're blaming the electorate now and not the system. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because we run a country based on party systems. The party in power will be the person to take charge of almost everything. If I am the president now and I appoint somebody as the INEC chairman, of course, yes, what do you expect people to say? They will tell you ABC. Look at the current APC national chairman. This man was a former rec. This man contested for governor of so. At the end of the day, who do you want the party to choose? There's no organ of government in this country. If you say the judiciary to choose who our INEC chairman should be, tomorrow you will find out some people will come out and say, come, your job is basically to make laws. Sorry, to execute the laws. The legislatures are old is to make law, not to appoint people for us. It is the executive that is in charge of appointments. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think at all that powers should be taken away from the president, because at the end of the day, we only can say the president must be fired. We can look at the process entirely again, put in some more plus or minus that will make sure that the man appoints somebody who is partisan, above politics, into that office. But saying that you want to carry it away from him, give to the legislature or give to the judiciary, is moving same disease from one person to another. Because if the people lack that trust in the system, there's nothing that system will produce that will make sense to them.
Chief, do you believe in comprehensive electoral reforms? If you do, how best do you then think we can get it all worked out?
Okay, first of all, there are a lot of issues that we are not taking into consideration that are affecting our elections, politics in general. You know, before I delve into that, in addition to what my brother sitting down here have just said, the president appoints. The National Assembly is there to perform that oversight function. They are the ones that confirms. If the president sends a name and by their oversight function, you know, and investigate and all of that, and the person is not qualified, they have the right to reject that person. So if the confirmation goes through, which means the person is credible enough, you know, to lead INEC. Now, but the major problem we have in Nigeria, because people are talking about electoral reform, bear in mind, as I said earlier on, there are flaws here and there. There are things that need to be added, I agreed. But generally, the electorate have a problem in Nigeria. And part of that major problem is illiteracy.
The electorate, that is?
Yes.
Okay.
Part of that major problem is illiteracy, because when you look at the voting bloc, the millions of Nigerians that cast their, you know, ballots in every election cycle, how many of them are literate? How many of them do know the candidate they are voting for? How many of them have the access to information to say, okay, this man is contesting to be a member of the House of Rep. Is he credible enough? Does he have the capacity to lead us? They do not. So people vote based on party system. When they go to the polls, they look at the logo of the party. Oh, this is our party. We are going to vote this person. Whether the person is credible or not, they are voting for that person. And then they come back to cry. You know, when that person is not performing, oh, this person was rigged, that was rigged. So I think for me, this is my personal opinion, that at the party level, you know, we should begin to, you know, take time to choose people who are credible enough, who have the capacity to lead in every position, you know, that we want them to be. That is where things will begin to work, you know, with the expectation of the masses. Because the people are there, they didn't go to school, they can't even read and write, they're in their rural communities, some don't even have light, they don't have access to information. All they know, oh, this umbrella, PDP, oh, this is Broom, APC, this is my party, this is what we're going to vote. And at the end of the day, we will still come back to the same problem, crying again and again and again. You see, the president on his own, like you talked about the United States of America, it's the same thing. Donald Trump, for instance, nominates his candidates, sends them to the American Senate for confirmation. If you remember what happened in the Trump's first tenure, one of the Supreme Court justices, Justice Kavanaugh, if I remember vividly, you know, faced one of the fiercest battles for confirmation in the U.S. Senate. There was a firestorm back and front.
Very true.
So that is what our Senate should be doing. to ensure that credible people, that are nominated by the president are confirmed, and when they are not credible enough, they should be rejected. So anybody who is going to lead INEC, like my colleague rightly stated here, should be non-partisan. That is what we should be looking into. To ensure, even if you happen to be a member of a political party before, but you must have an independent mind of your own to do what is good. We should have the capacity to dissent people, look for them, bring them and appoint them to lead INEC. If professors are not good, like he rightly stated, the judiciary is not to be trusted. You can't trust the judiciary. So who do you want to trust? So I've been on that side, but as you grow, you begin to have that knowledge, you begin to understand all of these things with the way things work, and begin to change your thought thinking. So I think, yes, INEC, there should be some reforms, agreed. Most especially when people talk about electronic voting, real-time information on results and all of that. I believe all of these things should be looked into critically, to put confidence in the minds of the electorate. But at the same time, the electorate must learn to trust the process. People must stop going to attack electoral system, stop stealing ballot boxes, stop, acts of violence. Because at the end of the day, if somebody goes into election and didn't win, so be it. Okay. You can't go because your candidate is not winning, you want to perpetrate violence, to stop the process. And then tomorrow, you say the judiciary is not working. No, that is totally unacceptable.
Well, it is very true what you said, but of course, the electorates cannot do more than what they are supposed to do. If stakeholders, party people, party politicians do not hypnotize them to do some of the things they do. You talked about ballot snatching and all of that. No electorate would willingly want to go do ballot snatching if there's no hypnosis financially to make him do that. So it's a very complex issue, but of course we would unfold them as time goes on. But let's take a look at other matters. Private sector raises alarm as public debt raises to 200 trillion naira. Mr. Peters, Bola Tinubu met a debt of 88 trillion. In less than 2 years, he took it to 200 trillion. How bad is this situation?
I think people need some education when it comes to loans in Nigeria. As at the time Bola Tinubu met 88 trillion there. So what was the rate of dollar? Because you denominate it by dollar.
Okay.
Dollar was there about 700,
yes.
750 there about. Now dollar is about 1,500. So all you need to do is just multiply that 88 times 2. First, you know that this is the actual money Nigeria was owing before, because then we were subsidizing the dollar. Now we have floated our exchange rate. Find your level.
So you mean the CBN is still not subsidizing the dollar?
No. It is the market forces of demand and supply that is determining what exchange rate is. You can see that in the recent 1, 2, 3 months, it's been stable between 1,005 and 1,006. Government is trying to pump more oil, generate more oil so that they can sell and get more revenue. They have told the country that by January, when we start the new tax reform, we are able. Now, the debt service ratio of the government, you hear Taiwo Yedele saying it, from 90, we were using over 90% of our revenue before to pay debt. Now it has come to about 51%. That means the government has reduced our debt service ratio. You see, the problem of the country exactly is not the loan that we take. Looking at the health of the country, we have resources, we have enough energy to take some of these loans. But the major problem Nigeria has is all these loans that you have taken all these years, that 200 trillion that you are talking about, show me the investment on ground. Can you match that your loan portfolio? It's just like you now. They say Chief Tony is owing us 1 billion. The next thing we will ask is that, Chief Tony, where is that 1 billion? Chief Tony will now tell you that, you see that 1 billion, I have a house in Banana, I have another one in Koyi, I have another one in Surulere, and I have 2 cars. You can tie down that 1 billion. But all these houses, I'm still building them. Immediately I finish building them, people start to rent them, I'll pay back your money. Or maybe I'll sell 1 or 2 houses and pay back your money. But the case of Nigeria is not like that most times. They collect the loan and tell them, okay, this 200 trillion, show us the value on ground. You will now see Abuja, Kaduna Road still ongoing, Coastal Road still ongoing, this one, By the time you value the projects and tie them together, you find out that they have gone away with a substantial amount of the money. A lot stolen while the country continues to pay for it. But this government is trying its best as much as possible to do what? To reduce. That is why you see all these Bretton Woods institutions, IMF, World Bank, trying to say Nigeria there's more money. If Nigeria is not creditworthy, those guys will not give you money. I can tell you.
So this brings us to square one, because you rightly said that lots of loans have been taken. We have more than enough energy to make that happen. But we cannot realistically say where this money is going to. Chief Amechi, let's not forget President Bola Tinubu removed subsidy. Nigerians can't still tell where this money is going to. And he's borrowing more. So isn't the situation a very bad one?
Okay, first of all, I am not against borrowing. Every nation borrows, to build infrastructures and develop their country, But my problem is accountability, just like my colleague I've just said earlier on. When you borrow and then there are visible projects, visible infrastructure, and you can tell the people exactly what you're doing with these monies, we don't have a problem with them. But you see, before the president took over, we were owing over 80 trillion, like you rightly said. And ordinarily, even it's not rocket science. You know that by the time the exchange rate collapsed, so you should know that we are owing 160 trillion.
Okay, so that's what it means.
Yeah, that's what it means. So in the 200 trillion we're talking about, so he has just borrowed the 40 trillion. Oh. So that's what it just means automatically. But you see, when you look at the projects that are ongoing right now, these are capital intensive. If you look at the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road project, yes, it's a very, very massive one. But I still believe, looking at the reforms that is currently ongoing, that we should give the president a little bit of time before
we start. Which reform are you talking about, sir?
Well, before you and I understand that the country before he took over has collapsed entirely. Nothing was working.
What exactly? Because it's
virtually
important that Nigerians understand some of this.
Yeah, because you see,
before now, Nigerians, heaved the sigh of relief because of the subsidy. They could practically take care of
that
themselves.
Subsidy.
Parents could pay school fees.
Now, I will tell you something that will shock you. Yeah. They say they are paying school fees. We're looking at the exchange rate at that time. The former president made the dollar at 200 naira. And left the dollar at 750 naira. As at that time, they were subsidizing. So over 80% of our money was going into subsidy. That is just the basic truth. And this subsidy are going into private pockets.
In a year, we spend close to $8 billion.
These subsidies are going into private pockets. Now we say we don't want to subsidize again. We are heavily indebted. We don't have infrastructures. We are rebuilding these infrastructures today. You and I know that. They are visible for us to see. Now, the president didn't tell you that if I come into power, it's going to be, overnight, it's going to be abracadabra. He made it very, very clear that we are going to go through pains. And that's what we're going through. So, good can never be good unless it passes through fire. I understand the pains of Nigerians, including me. I'm not finding it funny. I pay school fees as well. I know what I'm going through. I buy fuel, I go to the same market. It's not easy for me as well. But the point is that we need to be patient. I do not think the president is having a good sleep wherever he is right now. He's not finding it funny. In one of his interviews, I heard what he said. That Nigerian, they insult the hell out of me. I feel for him. I know the weight of this entire country is resting on him. He's not finding it easy. Let us give them that support and a little bit of time. And I can tell you for free that the moment, the new tax law, sets in January, there's going to be a lot of changes, that Nigerians will begin to experience. It's not easy right now. Things are not working because as far as people are concerned, these are rhetorics, but with time, they will happen. Even in America today, with the Trump reform, we are seeing what is going on. Inflation is going up. Things are tough. But they know that over a period of time, these things will work. So let us learn to be accountable, first of all. Nigerians must learn to begin to manage what they have and stop living frivolous life. I have to tell you the truth.
Chief, this is becoming very dicey because you're asking Nigerians to understand with the government, despite the extensive level of profligacy of the government.
Okay.
No, let me dive into that. See, I'll tell you something, You cannot give what you do not have. Are you getting my point? Somebody comes to you, he wants to be a senator, and he gives you money, and then you vote him in. And then tomorrow the person is not performing, is living the way he likes, you're complaining. No! The electorate must understand that, look, it is time to begin to hold people accountable. It is time to begin to elect those people, that will be able to represent your interests. People talk about rigging. You only rig where you're popular. And I asked a lot of people in Delta State, where I come from, in the last election, can you come and say that in my constituency or in my area that they rigged the election? And the answer is no. It was not an easy battle, but you can't rig it. So people must choose people that will represent them effectively. You cannot bring a criminal, let me use that word, but I'm sorry, I'm not calling anybody a criminal. And then you are now saying that, I gave this person a fish to keep for me and he ate that fish. When you openly and blatantly ignored all the red flags and you supported that person. So the point is that the leopard cannot change the sport. Before you elect somebody, try to peruse through that person, know who the person is, understand the fact that, okay, if I elect this person into a position of authority tomorrow, he will represent my interests. And do that for which I have sent him to go and do at the National Assembly or wherever you're sending him to. So what I'm saying in essence is that we create these monsters and then come back tomorrow to begin to complain. Like you said that it's okay, people are inducing them. No, I totally disagree with you. Everybody have an independent mind. Somebody comes to give you money to go and carry ballot box. Put the money in your pocket. Must you do it?
Really?
You don't have to do it.
It's very easy.
No, it is not easy to say.
I know you are very critical of the removal of subsidy.
Very well.
But I just want you to look at that space now, that oil industry. Why is Dangote coming out to say these cabals, they are after me? And in fact, yesterday I read the news that he has resigned as the chairman of
Dangote Cement.
Dangote Cement.
You left sugar earlier.
Yes.
He's now left guys who says, I want to concentrate on this refinery, petrochemicals, and others. Because they know very well, even Shetima said it just this week, that if this man had not removed that subsidy, those cabals would not have allowed anything to work in. And you see, we were living on borrowed times. Okay. We were borrowing money and using it to pay some people who said they are doing subsidy for us. So they collect
this money.
So it was not Yuguda, which of the minister that said, somebody was saying, he told us that tell Buhari to stop the subsidy. We have had enough money. We are tired of money. You see, what Nigerians don't know is that it is a difficult time. But if we don't pass through, just like Oyedeele had said, if we had done this thing 10 years ago, if this same president had not stopped Jonathan 10 years ago,
yes,
maybe
this would have been different.
He would have been enjoying life much more.
What did he not see? So what did he not see?
But
in 2012,
it is better late now
than
never. I know it is a painful period. People say, you guys, just like the president had said when he came in, I can also have plenty to do the change. Be taking dollar from CBN at 750 and I'll go and sell it at 1,000 outside, and I'll also be making money. But rather than do that, the rich people now, Rabiu, Bois Food, Bois was saying that before, almost every 2 weeks, I used to visit the CBN because I need to go and lobby so that they can give me FX. But now, this CBN governor, I've only met him maybe once or twice because I don't need him anymore. You just do your bid. Everything play. Forces of demand and supply. You see, simple. It is difficult. It is painful. And I understand where you are coming from, that despite all this, politicians have not stopped spending the way they spend.
Recklessly.
Fine, yes. Yeah. So if there are issues that we should address, fine, we should look at that and bring them home and say, okay, politicians, even as much as we want to take this fall for you, we want to pass through this pain. You too have to pass through some pains for the country. That is the discussion we should be having, and not that all these reforms should not happen.
All right, so we sincerely hope that the reforms would, of course, have an avalanche effect on the lives of Nigerians. So let's go to Niger Delta. If you may, proposed Anioma State, Okowa, Nwoko rivalry fuels division among stakeholders. Chief, it's very important that you are here. I'd love you to give us, fleshing this out for us, especially to Nigerians who might not understand what's happening between these two big stakeholders.
I don't think there's anything happening. Let me use that word.
Really?
Yes.
And we have it that there's rivalry here.
Well,
between both of them.
No, I don't think people have their different opinions. For me, I've not felt that yet. You know, do we want a normal state? Yes. It's the way the senator going about it the right way. I can't say yes.
So how is he going?
No. The point is that you
you
can't create a normal state without consulting properly with the critical stakeholders within the region. For instance, I'm from Ndokwa East. I'm from Ndokwa Nation. I'm an Ndosim Nekwane man. As the senator come to talk to my people, the answer is no.
So
it's important. It's important you understand this, that my constituency has supported the economy of this country since the inception of this country. We have the largest gas deposit as far as Africa is concerned. The power plant supplying even Abuja is from my backyard. So you can't be talking about the creation of a normal state and then you think you can't come to talk to my people. That is ridiculous reasoning.
Must he have to do that, knowing that it's for the good? Because you said that it's okay.
You want to create a state.
Yes.
I'm not against it.
Yes.
You want me to be part of a state you want to create, and you don't even seek my opinion. You don't even know how I feel about it. Things are not done that way. So if the former governor is not comfortable with the way he's going about his business, I think I support the former governor. He must learn to have some respect and respect control authorities. You saw what he did to my governor. That is completely unethical. You don't come and you begin to insult the governor of a state as if it's your baby. You don't do that. That is completely wrong. So as a senator, you must show some level of decorum, respect control authorities. If the former governor did not give you the platform, you wouldn't be a senator. So you don't say because you're a senator today, you don't have respect for people. You need to respect people. You need to come and talk to people. People like us knew what we went through to make him a senator. He can't come to my face and talk rubbish. In the last election, there's nobody from my constituency that would not tell you the role I played to ensure that every member of the PDP then, were elected into power. So Senator Nwoko should begin to respect those foundations, because if he's going back to the Senate, he still needs them. So what I'm saying is that, to the best of my knowledge, I have not heard the former governor say that I'm having issues with Senator Nwoko. He has not told anybody that I have issues with Senator Nwoko. But if he has, with the way Nwoko is going, with reckless abandon, then I think I will support the former governor. Because even to my constituency, he has insulted us. He has not carried us effectively. We saw the sham in Akwa Ibom in the last, the Southside hearing on state creation and the constitutional amendment.
Yes.
Were we properly consulted? Do we have people that wanted to represent us? So is that how you're going to lead us as a senator into a new state? We are not holding anything against the creation of a new state. Okay. But we want to be properly, carried along so we can look at the alliance we're going into to say, oh yeah, this alliance favors us or it doesn't favor us. And areas that are not going to be comfortable, to us, we can say, okay, these areas are not okay by us. And that is where I'm standing. I don't have anything against him, but he has to do things properly. That's what I'm saying.
Very true.
Yes.
Peters, let's even look at the intention of creating the states in the first place. Is it even needed? Is it necessary at this point? The Delta State, the Human Development Index in Delta State is below par. Doctor to patient ratio is below par. Now, if the state cannot even manage what it has, how much do you think creating another state would even solve the problem?
Okay, thank you. I think a very fantastic question. You see, when it comes to issue of state creation, it's a very tough one because a whole lot of things go inside it. I think for this particular one, if you look at Nigeria of today, the Northeast has 6 states, the Northwest 6 states, Southwest 6 states, South 6 states.
Southeast.
It's only the Southeast that has 5.
Yes, and they said that hopefully if they create a normal state, they will have it joined to the 5 Southeast states. I think
the proposition is to join this Anyoma together with the Southeast so that everything is balanced. So that our viewers know exactly why this Anyoma is making the news almost every time and why Nwoko is critical about it. So, but for states in Nigeria, what has been their contribution to the center? We all saw the VAT statistics. How many states were contributing? How many states were doing well? You find out that in almost all the regions, maybe you can pick one state. For example, now, if you look at the Southwest, maybe you can pick a Lagos and saying that, okay, this state is doing well. It can stand on its own. By the time you go to South-South, you can pick a River State and say, River State can stand on its own too. By the time you go to the Northwest, you can pick Kano and say Kano maybe can stand on its own. By the time you go to the Northeast, I don't know any state in that Northeast because most of them are facing insecurity issues. I don't know which states to pick in that Northeast, whether Adamawa or Bauchi, I don't know. But by the time you go to the North Central, which state there? Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa.
They're also being ravaged by insecurity.
Yes.
So I can tell you very well that most of these states are not viable. Creating another state, number one, the problem you will face is unless you run a situation whereby these states are independent through federalism, whereby they can tap their resources from their ground and use it to run that state. That is when you can say, because the present structure, no governor will allow his assembly to pass a bill saying that you want to create another state from her, because it's just like I am collecting 100 billion from Bola Tinubu from the center, and now you want a state out of me. I'll now be collecting 50.
Just like the LCDAs in Lagos State.
The states will now be collecting another 50. Of course, you reduce my income. So most of them are against that state creation because it affects their own revenue. So for me, I think the agenda of state creation for this Anioma, for balance, I think I agree. But for other states, I think we should just maintain what we have. Drive these states. Let's see what this tax reform, whether it will be able to make all these states to be able to work and generate some income before we start thinking of splitting these states again. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't see the value. Politicians just want more power so that by the time they share the Anioma state, Chief Tony can be a governor. The way some people are in Delta, by the time they share Niger state, another person wants to be governor here. So the people running after most of these states are running after them just because
selfish interest,
personal political positions,
so
and not because those states are going to do miracle for the citizens of those states.
Besides that, sorry, before you proceed, besides that, when you are even talking about the Anioma, I don't have anything against whether Anioma is going to be part of the southeastern states. But you see, there are things that need to be properly defined, and that's why the way my senator is going about the whole thing, it drives me crazy. People say Delta Igbo. There's nothing like Delta Igbo. We have to be realistic.
So what is it?
I'm an Ndosumilio man. I have my distinct language.
Which is?
The Ika man is there. He has a distinct language. The Anyocha man, the Anyocha Oshimili man has their distinct language.
Is it a language or a dialect?
No, your dialect.
Because it's very important with the
we have a different.
Because an Igbo man
has a dialect.
Has a dialect.
Yes.
You can't understand.
Yes, you can't understand what I'm saying.
What Chief is saying?
Yes.
What Chief is saying is critical.
Yes.
I've met people.
So you can't come.
Who would rather remain a South man.
Yes.
Than join the Southeast.
So what I'm saying is that you can't lump me.
Yes.
You cannot lump me. Yes. Into the South and call me a Delta Igbo man. That is wrong. First of all, so my ethnic nationality. My ethnic nationality must be respected. The Ika ethnic nationality must be respected. The Anyocha ethnic nationality must be respected. These are distinct dialects that the Igbo man cannot hear if we speak.
They can hear, but not so very
See,
well.
the Igbo man calls oil mano. We call it Ofigbo. How do you reply? They call rabbit Ewi. We call it Ofito.
But your name is Amici.
No, see, people can answer. Yeah. See, you have Spanish, you have Latin, you have French. They answer similar name. Are they the same thing? Are they the same? Are they the same people? So let us not go there. Name means nothing.
So I think
so the anger now.
Yes. So if we want to, what I'm saying,
what is happening in Delta
yes,
is also happening in Rivers.
Yes. Sorry, my brother. This affects me. No. See, this affects me critically.
Yes.
I don't have any problem that we want Anyoma that is going to be carved into the southeast.
Okay.
But I want that marriage to be properly defined.
Oh, okay, very well.
I don't want to go into a marriage where somebody is going to come tomorrow to intimidate me and tell me that I'm inferior. No, that's not going to happen.
Oh.
And by
if
that's not just the fear,
yes.
I want to be recognized. People should be proud of where they come from.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether we're a minority or not. I'm a proud Ndosimili Ukwani man. Anytime, any day. And I will defend our identity. I can't come and tell you I'm Delta Igbo. Who does that? To deny myself of my citizenship, dialect, and ethnic nationality, that won't happen. So I'm not against the state creation, but let us have a proper dialogue, going forward. That is where I stand in. And there was something you said earlier on that I want to beg to disagree. This is my state, When you talk about the gap between the doctors, the patients, and the rest of them in terms of healthcare, my governor is investing heavily into healthcare. And these are beginning to manifest. That times they see it clearly. We understand that there's a lot of gap. A lot of work needs to be done. No doubt about that. But the approach of this government with the Moon agenda, tends to touch every facet from infrastructure to security to healthcare to human capital development. We are seeing that manifest. So, and I would want you to come to Delta to see for yourself. If you look at what we are doing in infrastructure, I don't think there's any state in this country today that is doing that. Apart from Lagos that have the federal presence. If you take away the federal presence in Lagos, I don't think in terms of infrastructure in Nigeria today that there's any state that will come and compete with Delta State.
How about security?
We are doing very, very well in security.
Because Delta State most recently is making headline news for security. Don't swallow everything you hear hook, line, and sinker. Okay. It's just like when I see travel advisory from the United States government, it is laughable. The number of persons that dies in the United States every day is not even up to 1/10 of people that dies in the entire Nigeria every day. But here they paint Nigeria black. They tell, don't go there, it's not safe. Do you know how many people, gang-related problem, crisis and all of that, criminality and all of that they kill in America? So I'm against that. Let me remind you something. When my governor was sworn in 2023, shortly after I was sworn in, I was trying to build a relationship with the U.S. commercial consulate to see on how we can align investment ideas and benefit my state. And then the next thing, there was a bolo that was issued out that people should not travel to Delta State. Delta State was the safest state in Nigeria at that time. We don't have kidnapping, we don't have anything. That really angered me. So one of the investors that I was touting, whose investment is now beginning to take shape in Delta State, I invited them from the United States. I said, don't worry, I will be responsible for your security. They came. We even went as far as to Brutu. We traveled from Warri to Brutu for almost 1 hour by speedboat and all of that. Went around Delta State. And then he went back to his group. The man I'm talking about happened to be one of the members of the advisory council to Bush, Obama, and even the Trump first tenure. So you can imagine the level where he is. There are 15 members, advisory council to the government on investment and economy in the United States. And then he started telling his people that the story we had is not true, that Delta State is a good place to do business. I'm beginning to disabuse their mind. So sometimes we hear these things on the pages of the newspaper. I am not saying there's no insecurity. Okay. There's insecurity everywhere in the world. But to single out Delta State that we have issues is something that I think is a pure lie. Right. So I live in Delta State and I move freely. And sometimes, in recent times, to buttress what I'm saying, I said I'm shutting my house in Asaba down, which I did. And I'm staying in my village. I drive from my village to Asaba to come and work. And sometimes I leave Asaba by 9-10 p.m. going back to my village. The following morning I'm going to come back. So how many times have I been arrested on the road or attacked by criminals? Well, you're a chief.
No. So being a chief, you mean to attack. Anyway, being a chief exposes you to kidnapping because people believe that being a chief, you have money, they want to come and carry you. So that notion, I want you to disabuse that notion. Delta State, I can tell you, is the number one foreign, direct investment destination in Nigeria today. We are peaceful. Our ease of doing business is top notch. Maybe some other time, if I come to your program, we'll begin to look at all these indices. In Ireland, we showcase that. We prove to the world that, look, we have what it takes to come and do business in Delta State. And anybody that is saying anything contrary to that is an enemy of Delta State.
Very, very, very true. And I think it's very so important that you clarified some of these things, because one of the biggest problems we've had with governance in Nigeria is lack of communication. Effective communication, so we can as well distill some of these things so Nigerians and those in the diaspora and equally foreign direct investment will see reasons to want to come invest in not just our sub-sovereign states but Nigeria in its entirety. We'll be right back. That is when we return. Delta government unveils Power Commission Rural Electricity Agency. It's still Enterprise Weekend. Please don't go anywhere. I still go down. So let's head straight to our main conversation for this morning.
Wait. Oh yeah.
That's the beginning of joined us. You're still on to Enterprise on Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for this morning. Delta State has approved the creation of an electricity commission and a rural electricity agency to decentralize power and improve access following the domestication of the 2023 Federal Electricity Act. The state will implement a decentralized mini-grid model, enabling private operators to generate and distribute electricity using renewable sources like solar and hydro. A system operator and market operator will be appointed to regulate operations, ensure service standards, and promote equity. The consultant will also guide the market reforms. The Commissioner Sonny said the initiative aligns with Governor Oborevwori's more agenda and aims to position Delta as a leader in electricity reform. I still have with me Chief Dr. Tony Amechi. He is the special advisor to the Delta State government on investment. Thank you so very much, Chief, for hanging on. We truly do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Now let's talk about the more agenda. Just before we get into everything on electricity, can you help us flesh in the more agenda? What does it stand for? What has it done?
Okay, the more agenda, we're talking about meaningful development, opportunities for all, realistic reform, and enhanced peace and security. Now, this agenda is the bedrock of what the governor is doing presently in Delta State. The idea is to ensure that, development gets to every nooks and crannies of Delta State, and the people of Delta State feels the impact of government, So each and every one, in whatever position or phase that you occupy, is working in sync with this agenda to ensure that those goals are delivered and achieved at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk a bit about electricity and the lack of it in Delta State. Most recently, I have it on one of the newspapers a couple of weeks back on the Ndokwa issue that happened. It was so sad that lots of people, were handled by the operatives, the security and all, which of course I would love to believe gave rise to possibly this. I do not know if that was the reason why this commission was set up in the first place, the issue that happened at Ndokwa.
No, I think I totally disagree with you. Okay. Upon the inception of this administration, and when the federal government decentralized the power sector, so we began to work on this bill that you're seeing today. A lot of meetings were held, critical stakeholders were invited. As a matter of fact, there was something I personally sponsored. I got a consultant from TCN to prepare a way forward with what we can do in terms of electricity and all of that. So unfortunately, like you rightly said, a lot of people do not have information. The feedback mechanism is something that we need to look into, because when your constituents and people that you're representing are getting the right information, I don't think the crisis or the protest that happened the last time in my constituency would have been necessary. But obviously, the feedback mechanism is not there, so people don't really know what the government is doing, to ameliorate their sufferings or to change whatever perception that they have. So we've been on this, but unfortunately, the protest came at a time, that the bill for electricity was almost at its conclusion.
So it was a coincidence?
It was a coincidence, let me use that word. So because I knew that this was already ongoing. And not to forget about the fact that the member representing Ndokwa Shokokwa in the federal constituency at the Federal House of Representatives, this has been his primary objective, championing the call,
Who is that exactly?
Honorable Ndezechi, Right Honorable Ndezechi. So he's been making a lot of moves, championing that cause to ensure that the independent power plant in Okpai, in Ndokwa East edge of the Delta State, that is a step down, which was actually, being built under the Obasanjo administration. But I understand from my own investigation too, because before I joined government, we also were looking at these with some other groups and brothers who also were partaking to this cost to ensure that we have electricity. So we understand that the project at that time was not a proper project. It was not in the budget. It didn't go through BPE. Okay. Those were information that we gathered, So Ajip, as at that time, the MD of Ajip as at that time, leveraged on the relationship they had with Obasanjo to start the step-down project. But unfortunately, they didn't perfect it to make sure it goes through BP for it to have a proper budget before that administration went out. So there was no proper follow-up after that time. Okay, so it became cumbersome now, but I think it's receiving attention. So what the government did when we came into office was to look at how we can get power across the nooks and crannies of Delta State, which will boost development, which will boost production and all of that. If you look at what is happening in most of the states, in most of the towns, you see what we call the urban migration. People don't want to stay in the rural areas anymore. Everybody wants to come to the city. And this is happening because people don't have access to roads. They don't have access to water. Most importantly, electricity. The petty weather can't operate in the village because it does not have light. The hairdresser cannot operate because it does not have light. The fashion designer cannot operate. Even the man that has a fish pond that ordinarily is supposed to, let me dry my fish using the microwave so I can export them, can't do that. Agriculture is on the decline because you can't even preserve what you have. So we realize, from the inception of this government, that electricity is the bedrock of development in any nation. When we have electricity, it's going to be the beginning of development and it's going to reduce the urban migration. And my governor, Sheriff Oborevwori, took it upon himself that something has to be done. So it's something that is dear to him. And it's not leaving any stone unturned, until these communities within the rural areas and every towns and every nooks and crannies in there that have electricity. And that's exactly the manifestation of what you're seeing in that bill. So the bill gives that opportunity to different investors, in different capacities to come in and look at Delta State. You can think of where you want to come and invest and then sit down and have a conversation with the agency responsible for that, and then your business can fly.
So does it mean that the 8 years administration of Okowa did not see reasons to initiate some of those things?
No, there were reasons, yes. But you need to understand that a lot of things were under the exclusive list. Okay. Before now, electricity, railway, petroleum, solid minerals, even the maritime till tomorrow are still under the exclusive list. So you can't do anything contrary to the decision of the federal government. Not because the Okowa administration does not want to do it, but you're going to be running contrary to what the federal government was doing. Even the independent power plant that was built by Governor Okowa in Delta State, they had to go through a lot to actualize that. But with the unbundling of the electricity sector by this current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, states can now begin to generate their own power, distribute their own power for the benefit of their people. And that is what we are doing in Delta State today, to make sure that, electricity gets to every news and of Delta State and our people can now begin to develop, effectively, because the moment you have power, then everything works for you. For instance, I believe in living in the village. I'm a village man. I believe in my people. So you won't see me in Asaba if I have electricity in my village. I will remain with my people. I will understand them better. Even now that we don't have electricity, but I can tell you without your favor that a lot of work is now ongoing in my place. A lot of work, the lines are being revisited. There's been a rehabilitation. All the phases are coming up. And I can tell you without your favor that in my place, there's going to be light in no distant time.
So, but who is in charge of that? Because it's very important, because you talked about giving third party the opportunity to come invest in power. You and I know that power is a capital intensive business, and it's not plug and play. You need time to have that happen. And for now, the average man in Ndokwa is more concerned about seeing light. He is not concerned about the third party coming and when it will be realized. Why won't the government of Sheriff Oborevwori take the first step, ensure that at least there is that on?
No, that now
I the third party to come in.
I think you don't. I think, like I told you in our last conversation, that you don't swallow everything you hear hook, line, and sinker. People are there to discredit government, whether government is doing well or not. Okay? What we are doing right now is to ensure that we reconnect to BEDC, pending when a step down or these other investors are coming in. And that is happening now as I speak to you. Money has been paid to BEDC, critical decisions have been made, and they are recording most of these communities that do not have light. A lot of contracts have been given to that effect. It's ongoing. And I'm inviting you and your team to take a tour in Delta State. Take a tour. You don't just sit down, in Lagos and assume that nothing is happening in Delta State.
Whatever happens there is what we see. And if there are no
I totally disagree with you. We also have a lot of disgruntled elements that are willing to discredit what government is doing, and I totally disagree with that. Okay. So I'm inviting you on a full expense paid trip. I'll be responsible for your expenses if you're ready to come. I will take you around into Nation, for instance, so I can see what is going on. So BEDC is in the process of reconnecting most of these communities that have been disconnected. Mind you, a lot of things have been vandalized, transformers have been stolen, electricity lines have been taken away, but they are putting all of these things in place now as I speak to you. In fact, before I left the village, some of the contractors came to pay me a visit to tell me the extent they are going and even share some ideas with me, which I called the local government chairman of one of my LGAs, and it's in sync with what is going on. So sometimes you hear news that are not true, and I will also implore you to verify most of this information before putting them out on air. So the government is doing everything possible to ensure that the people have light. Like I rightly stated, the protest was a coincidence, and that was why I was appealing to them that there should be more time and more dialogue before you begin to embark on protest. But unfortunately, a lot of people are bent on doing what they want to do. I'm not against them. Okay. I'm not saying that what they did was wrong. Okay. But I think it's also important to find a mechanism of getting information from government to know what is coming to your place before embarking on a protest that might end up destroying what you have.
Yes. Because you talked about, because when we were talking about the Okowa and his friend having a little feud here, you said there are no proper mechanism to get people to understand what they are doing. Now, with respect to this connection that you said and the lack of information coming from that community, I love to believe there are councillors representing that place. There's a local government chairman there. There's a member, State House of Assembly. There's members representing that same community in the federal and so on. Have they been carried along?
Okay, I also share in that blame.
Yes.
I'm not going to excuse myself from that. I'm an advisor to the governor. But unfortunately, for a very long time, I've been incapacitated. I've been under the weather. Okay. So I've not really been functioning. Okay. Everybody must share part of that blame of not being able to revert back to the people. We should be doing at least monthly briefing to our people to let our people know what is going on. But at the same time, there are visible projects that our people can see. In Ndokwa Nation, for instance, since the creation of Delta State, have never had it good the way they are having it right now.
With Sheriff Oborevwori.
With Sheriff Oborevwori. This governor is doing so much for us. And I want to say right here a very big thank you to him.
So was it
in my community, yes, where I come from in Ndokwa is one of the key roads that leads to the interior areas that nobody ever thinks about. He just awarded that contract. I want to do billions.
Because it's very important that
the Abon Akai Road has been awarded. Okay, the Kwale Benekuku Bridge has been built and completed. There are a lot of other bridges that he has awarded that I can't even begin to enumerate, but I think I will send them to you.
Yeah,
maybe you can display them.
I would appreciate that.
People need to begin to understand this. And I'm also going to use it to appeal to my local government, the chairman of all the local governments, the councillors, the members representing the different set of assemblies, to be communicating with the people, for them to know exactly what the governor is doing. He's doing so much for us. We've never had it this good before. And the deputy governor on his own part is also pushing. People may say whatever they want to say, but a lot of people who have eyes are seeing, and they know that for the first time in the history of Delta State, that we are beginning to feel the impact of government. So I want to appeal them that rather than cast aspersion, use derogatory words and all of that, let us encourage this government. Let us support this government, to do more for us.
I love your enthusiasm. I truly do love your enthusiasm. But would I say this is as a result of Sheriff Oborevwori plugged into the center? Because since he had moved from the beloved PDP, which is hereditary to the people of Delta State, to the new party, which the people are still having issues with, and you are saying laudably that the governor, the sheriff, the new sheriff in town is doing awesomely well. So would I say it is because he has plugged to the center?
That's not true. When did we plug into the center? About a month ago?
Yes.
The governor hit the ground running from the very first day. You can't tell me that you're not seeing that. This governor every week is inspecting projects by himself. How many governors does it in the entire Nigeria? You can't see any governor doing that. Every blessed week, he's going from one project to the other to see for himself. You see the project even condemning jobs that contractors are doing. See, this is not what I gave you. You have to repeat it. For the first time, we have a governor that is all-round action. From the day he was sworn in was the day he started working. It's not as a result of going, aligning with the center. Aligning with the center is to bring more prosperity, not because he's not giving it to us already.
Okay.
So he's already doing that. And we also believe that also aligning with the center, that most of the key projects that we're looking at, from the federal government will also come.
Are you telling me that's not a Trojan horse for Okowa? Is that what you're saying?
No, see, people
because
are...
what we
no,
the media, because all of these things are plain, they are in the open domain. Okowa still has a case with the EFCC about 1.5 trillion. That is not
true. Can I ask you a question? Yes. That is not true. What was the total budget of Delta State for the 8 years of Okowa? If people are saying that Okowa stole 1.5 trillion, what was the total budget of Delta State for the 8 years of Okowa?
So what you're saying?
No, it's bogus. It's completely wrong.
Really?
And I'm standing here to tell you. I'm sitting with you here to tell you that it's completely wrong. That is bullshit. What was the total budget of Delta State for that 8 years of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa? So people are free to say whatever they want to say. How would we get as a state for the 8 years of that government that you are going to say that the governor stole 1.5 trillion? I'm not telling that Okowa is a saint. Okay. But to lay such accusations on that man, I mean, it's demonic. Let me use that word. So whoever fabricated that write-up, casting aspersion, saying all of these things to confuse debtors, is an enemy of the state.
So the shift to APC wasn't because of it?
No, absolutely nothing. It is a strategic alignment to bring more development to Delta State.
So Delta State wouldn't have developed faster enough?
We are already developing.
It had remained with the PDP.
Let us be realistic.
Yes.
Let us be realistic. There are certain things that you need to understand. A lot of things are still under the exclusive list of the federal government. Okay. There are certain things that we might want to do today that we can't do easily without the support of the federal government. So the question you need to ask yourself, why do we want to continue fighting the federal government when we can actually build a nice relationship with them to go get what we want seamlessly?
But Chief, Enugu State of Mba is not aligning to the center. It is doing awesomely well.
Are you point of correction? Are you telling me here that Abia State and Enugu State are doing better than Delta State?
Well, I do not know, but knowing where they are coming from.
Yes.
Knowing where
where were they coming from? No. Where were they coming from? The state they and Delta State, they are age mates. Are they not?
Very well.
Are they not receiving allocations each of the states?
Very true.
So what I was saying. So if you choose not to develop yourself, how does that affect Delta State government? The point that we have our ambition, we have what we intend to achieve. They have their ambition, they have what they intend to achieve. They are developing according to their pace, we are developing according to our pace. There are things that we believe that we will get, by building this alliance that we're building today. Not because there's any other thing special that the federal government is going to do for us. We were already doing awesomely well, which you know.
Yeah.
Look at the number of, in less than 2 years, how many flyovers have we built? How many bridges have you built? How many roads have we built? Schools that have been renovated, employment. Think of all of that in Delta State. Look at the partnership we are building with our foreign direct investment. It's a flurry of investment because we sit in a pivotal position in this country to drive prosperity for Nigeria. And because we know who we are as Deltans, aligning with the federal government was the best option for us so that we can unleash the potentials we have seamlessly without bottlenecks. So anybody who is saying anything contrary to that is that person's business. My governor was doing well before joining APC, and he will do more with the support of Mr. President. Simple. So anybody that says anything contrary to that, well, has his own objective, has his own agenda. But I know that the alliance is for the prosperity of Delta State and not to protect anybody's interest or anybody's misgiving. And those people who are peddling these rumors or casting their aspersions are doing that on their own. It's as simple as ABCD. We are doing exceptionally well, and we have money at Delta State to do more. And that is the more agenda, and the governor is doing it. So anybody that is saying, because the former governor has a case with EFCC, the case are unsubstantiated. EFCC cannot prosecute that case because it is, on what basis are they even saying that he stole 1 point? They should give us the evidence. We are Deltans, we are waiting to see it. There's no evidence to that. So it is not because of Mr. President.
Yes.
I don't know prosecuting members of APC. So what makes you believe that because my governor went to APC, if the former governor has a case that is not going to be prosecuted, they can't prosecute him because the case is baseless. They don't have any case against the man.
Well, that's very similar to what the Bible people have done or have said. Emmanuel, the former governor, equally has a case with the EFCC. When has joined the APC because of the same reason people have alleged. And but let's come back to the electricity issue, because I had the opportunity of doing some research here on some of the issues that we have with electricity and its lack in Delta State. And one of them is community resistance or land dispute. It says here that electrification projects sometimes face delay due to local disputes or lack of cooperation from host communities. So is it okay to say, have we observed such in Delta State?
To the best of my knowledge, we've not observed such. And I do not think there's any community in Delta State today that will begin to fight or create bottlenecks for operators or investors or contractors that are coming to bring electricity to us. I don't think there's any community that want to do that.
So land has not been grabbed by any means just to make that happen?
No,
as against the community?
To the best of my knowledge,
Yes.
no. We've not had that. We've not seen that. To the best of my knowledge, I've not seen that. And I've never had that. And if such is happening, trust me, I'll be among the first persons to know. Yes.
So how do you hope to deal with vandalism and theft? Because that had been a recurring issue going forward.
Now, people have suffered as a result of lack of electricity for so many years. You know, when we talk about government shouldn't just be the people we elected to represent us. We are all part of government. So if I know that this electricity is important to me and it's in my community, I will do everything within my powers to protect it. And let me tell you something, like I tell my people, a vandal cannot come from the outside to come and vandalize something that is in your house without somebody in your house aiding that vandal.
Very true.
So this is why I also call on our community leaders, our chiefs, our kings, youth presidents, youth bodies, to be part of the process of securing these infrastructures. It's just like when you come to telecom, you see NCC encouraging people to secure NCC infrastructures. Yes. Because if they are not working, you don't have communication. So if these infrastructures are vandalized, transformers are stolen, lines are taken away, the light goes off. So because you know that the light is important to you, you must be part of the process to ensure that nobody vandalizes it. So we all have to be vigilant. We all have to support these companies providing these services to secure these assets, to ensure that we have constant power supply. So it is not just about Delta State. It's about every part of the federation. People must begin to take that holistic approach. People must begin to make that necessary effort to make sure that infrastructures are protected, with the view of ensuring that service delivery is guaranteed and you have constant power supply to do your business, even sleep well. If you have already, you can on your AC, and after the hot day and stress, you sleep well, you have good sleep, and you dream well. It's only a man that sleeps well that can dream of becoming a billionaire. If you don't sleep well, you don't have a fan blowing you, you're going to be dreaming of witches and who's are chasing you. So in order not to have those nightmares, all of us must join hands, encourage local security, support them, to protect these infrastructures. It's not just for government. Like I told my people when I went home the last time, the drainages in my community that have been filled up, I called the youth president and I said, look, this can't be happening here when you're a youth president. Go to the Onotuku and let him know that these drainages need to be cleared. And then maybe on a Saturday, get a tank crier to send message to all the youths and everybody to come out. We need to clear our drainages and evacuate them to make sure that flood doesn't ravage our community and other landscapes are not eroded by erosion. And they thanked me. And as I speak to you, they told me that today, that work is ongoing. So these are the kind of things we should be doing as leaders, encouraging our people to make sure that whatever government and state is doing for us, we protect them so they don't get bad. Because you don't get favor from government all the time. And government cannot continue doing this recurrent expenditure all the time. These things cost money. One of my biggest fears when we embarked on a road construction and all of that, we are from the Niger Delta. We know our terrain. In 1 or 2 years, no matter how good Julius Berger builds the road, it gets bad again. You need money to maintain them. So people saying that people are stealing money, they are not also looking at all of these things. All these recurrent expenditures. Why you have recurrent expenditures, you also have capital projects that are still ongoing. So it is not easy for us as a state, but my governor is doing everything he can to ensure that life is easy for us. And anybody saying anything contrary to that is the enemy of Delta State. I can tell you that for free.
Awesome. My last question to you just before we let you go. Renewable energy is so important. You are the advisor to the Delta State government on investment.
Yes.
If you might share with us if you have seen or have experienced the situation where people are interested, third parties now interested in renewable energy, especially in these areas that are deficit of electricity. Have you had anything from them? Is there anything in the future that will possibly bring them so we cannot just have the national grid and all of that, but renewable energy? Because most of these communities do not need so much energy. Just a little bit of a solar panel, just one, is enough sometimes for one community or for one household. So do we have such in the pipeline?
There are a lot of companies that are interested in doing renewable energy in Delta State, from solar to CNGs and the rest of them. So discussions are ongoing, and hopefully they will be fruitful. I can tell you that. So it's something that we all know is one thing that is going to the entire world is sitting to.
Yes.
So we can't be left out. So we're having conversation. We're talking. I'm traveling today. I'm going to about 5 different countries. I also talk to investors, meeting with them, and probably. But when people talk about investment, convincing investors, it's also not very easy from where we're coming from.
Okay.
The country in general has been really bastardized until the president came into office and is beginning to carry out these reforms to put confidence in the mind of investors. The volatility in our currency was also a major problem. Putting confidence in the minds of investors was a major problem in Nigeria. It's not just about Delta State, but things are beginning to take shape. The outlook is looking very, very good now. And we hope that in the coming years, there's going to be flurries of investment, not just coming into Delta State, but Nigeria as a whole. Things are beginning to get stable, and people are beginning to have confidence. The people that exercised fear in my first trip to seek for investors, are no longer seeing that fear today. A lot of them are confident. They are putting me under a lot of pressure. They want to come, you know. But government is not like the private business. If it's a private business, I'm a businessman, I would have closed up a whole lot of this. But you know, in government, there are a lot of procedures. Yeah, a lot of bottlenecks. So you need to navigate them. So this navigation makes it look as if, okay, nothing is happening. But definitely you overcome them, and then things will begin to fly the way you want it. So are we ready for investment? Of course, yes. In renewable energy, of course, yes. Are there investors coming on? Of course, yes. And very soon, things will begin to take shape. And as I told you, you can't do anything in Nigeria without Delta states. That has been established. So anybody seeing that contrary is making. If you're going to Abuja from Asaba,
yes,
and somebody is going to Abuja from Lagos, the man going from Asaba will get there. If you're going by road, the man going there will get there first. So we sit at a pivotal position to drive prosperity for our brothers in the southeast, drive for our brothers in the south-south, drive for our brothers in the southwest, and our brothers in the north. Okay, we have the resources, we have the manpower, we have the academic institutions. That is the only state in Nigeria that have over over 5 state-owned universities that are doing exceptionally well. Not just having them by name, you can verify. So in terms of, fully funded, in terms of human capital development, I think we have the right manpower to man whatever investment that is going to come into Delta State. So we are getting there, and I'm very proud of my governor. You know, a man, he has no fear. He's never afraid to dare. He wants the best for Deltans, and the way he's going, I see him becoming the president of this country someday. I can tell you that. I can tell you that for free. You know, he feels the pulse of the people. I think that's the first thing that you need to understand. You know, and I'm praying for him every blessed day, and I'll keep on supporting him and ensure that everything works well. I think it means well for Deltans. A lot of communities that have been cut off are being reconnected because it's building bridges, roads, and all of that, so people know. So for those that are preparing that they believe there's vacancy in Osadebe House come 2027, there's no vacancy to 2032. So really? Yes, to 2031. So they need to understand that it's a ride over now. It's a so there may not be the truth that there may not be election in Delta that I can tell you that for free, because the entire Deltans will come to say, to pass that vote of confidence, say continue from where you stopped. What are we going to put to go and waste our money for? The man is working.
And what's the relationship between Sheriff and Omar Gigi? Is it awesome?
Let me tell you something. Did they tell you they have problems?
Well, who knows?
Have you seen them quarreling? You see them everywhere in functions and all of that. They embrace themselves, they talk, they smile, they exchange pleasantries. So if they are enemies, I don't think that will be happening. So you see, this is the season of politics. So you will hear a lot of garbages. People will say so many things. You know, people will cast aspersions, they will peddle rumors. This is the season where you begin to hear all of that. By next year, we are getting into politics proper. The business of the day is not going to be that serious. So you're going to hear a lot of stories, accusations and counter-accusations. So when you hear these rumors, it is normal. It is not out of place. People will even tell you that your mother did this, your father did that. They will even bring problem between you and your family. So I am not surprised. I've had this experience, and that is what we're seeing today. So anybody can say anything. To the best of my knowledge, Oborevwori and the Sheriff Oborevwori, they are not having any problem. Okay. Are you getting my point? Okowa and Ned Nwoko, I've never heard if they have any problems. So people can say anything. Have you had a Okowa that is having issues with Ned Nwoko or from Sheriff?
No,
so why not book a session with the governor and have a chat with him?
Please, I would sincerely appreciate because it's so important that we get to hear from the whole
my state is peaceful.
Yes.
I can tell you that for free. We are well secured. And we're investing so much in the security architecture. You can see what my governor did for the Nigerian police, civil defense, and the military. Provided the necessary assistance, vehicles, trucks, and all of that. You know, ensuring that these people have everything they need to, you know, boost security in Delta State. And the architecture is working effectively well. So people are free to come out on air to say a whole lot of things, but most importantly, one of the things that the governor did, like I said earlier on, that is pivotal to driving prosperity in Delta State was this electricity bill that has been signed into law. Because with electricity, you know, coming in and being constant, concerned, a lot of development and investment will begin to take place within the rural areas, reduce urban migration, and then the people are going to be happy, once again. So I think so far so good, we are doing well. You can't talk about the SASA without talking about Delta State today.
Definitely.
That is just the simple truth. And that is happening because we have a governor that understands, he understands the streets. He has the street credibility, and that is why things are moving. So what do you want to come and tell my governor that he does not know? Of course, he has the listening ears. He's going to listen to you. He will analyze what you're saying. And then, most importantly, do what is best for Deltans, and that is happening.
Very well true. Congratulations, Chief. And Chief has promised to bring us to Delta State. Hopefully, we would have an exclusive one-on-one sit-down with the Governor, Sheriff Oborevwori, to do some talking on some of these things and more. But most importantly, have the opportunity of visiting rural communities, see what he is doing, especially with regards to electrification of the communities, and hear from the people how the government of Sheriff Oborevwori has impacted on their lives and their businesses, their families, and all whatnot. Thank you so very much, Chief Dr. Tony Ameche, for being here.
Thank you so much.
We do appreciate you once more. All right, people, that's just about the time we have. I'd love to say thank you to you for making this picture complete. Please do well to visit us if you may. You can actually read up on everything we've talked about. When you see us at EnterpriseTV7News.com, you may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at EnterpriseTV7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.